batted pretty well in association with Jacobs in Auckland. But he's out. He's gone. Here's the first run for the West Indies, taken by Jimmy Adams.
Well, I do hope the New Zealanders, particularly in the circle on square, have got the sprigs on today, because we saw a lot of short singles taken with left-right hand combination early on at Eden Park. Now, of course, we've got two left-handers in.
Certainly was in the air for a while from the bat of Ridley Jacobs.
Jacobs, you could see there, 550s and a strike rate of 63. Not particularly high, and that average of 23. He'd like to either up one of those. If he keeps the same strike rate, then he's really got to get that average up and get more runs. Played well at Eden Park.
Pleasant shot. Slow outfield, though. That will be the case for some time until this sun, which is pretty warm, spends a bit of time on the outfield. They got a couple.
Now you can see here the shot from Jacobs, just pushing it through, really not a big stroke, just angling it through. Another short single, and that's where those men in square have just got to get in tight. And you see the man in square, Spearman, there looking to get in tight. And this is the shot that went through the covers from Jacobs 2 balls ago. And you'll notice here Harris turning and chasing. This is because of the undulations here at Taupo as well. You've really got to chase the whole way. End of the first over, the West Indies 4 for 1 wicket.
Well, just look at that sky. We've had a lot of rain here in Taupo, certainly this morning, and a couple of hours ago, very, very heavy fall. But fortunately, at the moment anyway, that's not where the weather is coming from. I'd suggest we don't worry too much about that. It's more in the opposite direction to the west. We're looking out towards the east there. That's the general direction of where the clouds have been coming from. Over the back of the grandstand, you see the main grandstand there. More of a northerly quarter, if you like. Just trying to work out the compass points here, Jerry. So, while it does look a little threatening, I wouldn't be too concerned just at the moment. Now, Shane O'Connor is going to open up with a new ball.
Well, there you can see, I suppose the interesting thing here for O'Connor, for me, is the runs per over. There was a slight question mark in my mind whether, in fact, he would play today, provided, of course, Christopher Cairns was fit to bowl his overs and open the bowling. Well, we've seen that's the case. And I thought if Cairns was going to play then, Scott Styrus would be the man. He would strengthen the batting, and he wouldn't perhaps be as expensive as O'Connor. So O'Connor an opportunity.
He bowls a wide first up.
And O'Connor, of course, in India, when he played over there, went for 10 runs per over. This one's just a little bit too wide for the umpire. I think it's a bit of a toughie, actually. He dragged it down enough for the batsman to get a good enough look to play a stroke. But 10 runs and over in India, and at Auckland, he was at 8s. Picked up just the 1 wicket. It's all right, of course, to go for that many runs per over if you're picking up wickets.
It's nicely nudged away. Oh, they thought about a second, but you could see what happened to Jacobs. He took a tumble.
think all the players here have just got to make sure they're wearing the studs today. It is a bit, as I mentioned, a bit looking, you can see just that Jacobs looking to try and get a bit of power, and that's where he's slipped.
The second of 42 overs, with restrictions coming off after 12.
Well, this is better. He's bowled a good enough length to encourage the batsman onto the front foot, but it's not drivable, and it's actually just got a wee bit of movement away, just from the seam. And you can see there that Adams has gone nowhere with the front foot. He's just really just kept it on the crease and is feeling for that delivery. That's an out shot. Well, just a hint here of Adams looking to play across it. Just encouraged almost. You can see there that there are 2 slips and a gully, 2 inside the circle on the offside and a third man, and 3 on the leg side, mid on, man by the umpire, and squarish fine leg.
Yeah, will this have quite enough on it? The outfield is pretty slow, but it does. And there's the first boundary struck for the West Indies by Jimmy Adams.
Well, the problem is, of course, for a bowler, that you don't want to be bowling right up there to encourage the drive too much in a one-day game, so you're back of a length, in other words. O'Connor just dropping too short.
He's short again, and he's going to go for 4 more. That's well played. Backward a square by Adams.
Well, one side, then the other. And O'Connor, the length is the problem again. And a good stroke, good horizontal bat shot there from Adams. Making a good contact, getting inside the line of the ball. Getting across. And quite nice balance as he pivots there. Just too short.
It's not a bad delivery, that one, but quite an expensive over nonetheless from Shane O'Connor. 14 for 1. Let's go back to the very first ball of the game and look at this at normal speed. What a start for Stephen Fleming and New Zealand. Sherwin Campbell out, first ball of the match. Beautiful setting here at Owen Delaney Park in Taupo. And a wee bit across that. Looked as though he's trying to put it away down through mid-on, but it's effective enough. Trouble in the outfield for Dion Nash. It's still quite slippery out there. And it will be for some time yet, although the sun is shining, and that'll assist the drying process pretty smartly.
Really what happened here, it was certainly fetched across to the onside, but Nash just got himself in a bit of a hash, if I could say. They're really there. He didn't come round behind it or get around the ball first.
I understand the wind has changed a wee bit here, and it's coming from the south, which means that Chris Cairns is bowling into it, which may not amuse him too much. I guess we also have to look to the south now and make sure that the clouds aren't building up.
Interesting to see the West Indies at this stage also playing very freely. We've seen Adams come in. Of course, he's helped himself to a few shortish ones. We've seen Jacobs mainly looking, he's tried a couple of cuts, and which would indicate that New Zealanders generally are just bowling a bit short. You can see a section of the crowd are asked to move here. As of course Cairns is looking to maybe change his line a little bit. Quite small sight screens here at Owen Delaney. But they certainly need someone on them to move them across, of course. Bowlers are changing their over the wicket to round the wicket perspective.
I guess some of these patrons have set up shop for the day. They don't want to move. Now Cairns is underway a little too quickly. Stephen Fleming had something he wanted to say as well, so there's a problem for Stephen Fleming. I think standing in the slips, he's struggling too to so there's Dion Nash telling the attendant exactly the problem, and we should be right shortly. Just the 2 overs bowled so far, 16 for 1. Amazing start.
Well, as I say, most of them have come from short deliveries. I think the New Zealanders have just got to pitch up just a little bit more. About that length that we saw Campbell dismissed from, that's the sort of almost encouraging to drive. So far, O'Connor, of course, is not quick. He's just got to pitch up a wee bit more.
Well, that's very good fielding from McMillan. It's the new look, Craig McMillan. There he is.
He's a gully, of course, and this one played into the ground. And goodish effort to get up. Slightly athletic.
The trick here, of course, is to time the jump. And he timed it perfectly.
Oh, I think that's 7.5 from the Russian judge, that one.
That's right. 9.9 from the American. Well, maybe this is done to coincide with a change in batting form for Craig McMillan. Been a bit out of form lately. Slow delivery, and well read by Ridley Jacobs, who looks at home in this opening berth. Certainly enjoyed himself at Eden Park, no question about that. There he is, the wicketkeeper. Tore off a magnificent catch too. That got rid of Spearman from memory. Yeah, Craig Spearman.
You can see here, once Cairns gets it right, pushes Adams back, he's having to jump. There is good bounce at Owen Delaney. I mentioned how hard it was in the pitch report. You can see he's off the ground to keep that under control. West Indies, it's interesting with Jimmy Adams, isn't it? Because he came in at number 8 up in Auckland, and really he's not a free stroking batsman, and in these conditions it may work for the West Indies that he comes in early.
Although it looks to be a pretty aggressive form at the moment. That's his 3rd boundary. Whenever the ball is short, he'll go for it. And 3 overs bowled, West Indies 21 for 1.
3 overs completed, 21 for 1.
Well, I just think the New Zealanders just getting carried away with the bounce here. They've got to try to bowl short enough that it still draws the West Indies batsmen forward. And there's no way they're going to be interested in playing forward to that sort of delivery. Maybe worth one of those, but I really don't think that you should be seeing these sorts of shots in these conditions.
A bright and lively start to the match here at Owen Delaney Park. After 3 overs, they're going at 7 and over, the West Indies. But on the downside, they lost Sherwin Campbell off the first ball. Now here's Shane O'Connor. Remembering that restrictions come off after 12, because it's a 42 over game. well run again. Single for Ridley Jacobs.
Yes, you can see there Roger Too's saying to O'Connor, look, do you want me in a bit tighter there? And really, at the moment again, the New Zealanders just giving too many singles away. That's a wee bit short again, pushes them onto the back foot, but that's just too easy.
This time pushing him forward, and a good tumbling save.
And I think really, if the New Zealanders are going to bowl a bit short, Harris has just got to go a wee bit behind square, and you can see he is there. He's even got to go perhaps even a bit more than that. If there's any swing, of course, from O'Connor, it's going to move away from the slips. It'll tend to carry it down backward of square anyway, and if he's going to bowl short as well, it tends to go behind square. Just all a bit untidy for the New Zealanders. They picked up an early wicket. They're a wee bit rusty up in Auckland, I thought, early on, and here once again it's a Spearman.
Well, some of these people have been in this ground for some time. They've been very patient. Many of them have been here since around midday, and they've had to endure some very heavy rain. Over the top he goes. That's a clean shot. It might pitch. Good clean blow, and it's 6 runs.
Well, you see this, he's dropped a few short. Now this one's just a wee bit full, but Jacobs sees it very well, and he actually fetched that a wee bit, give it the full face of the bat. And look, that's well, that's cleared the line by some distance. What a good contact from Jacobs. He's just carrying on his good form from Eden Park.
Straight up in the air, chance here. Catch taken by Chris Cairns.
Well, if you're going to be expensive, then you've got to pick up wickets. And after being